continue our beautiful morning with two beautiful guests. We have with us on set this morning Danalyn Myvett, President of the Belize Center for Training and Development. And we have with us published author of The Amazing Race, Entrepreneurial Freedom, and also an international speaker. We have with us none other than Georgina Terry. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Good morning.
What a wonderful morning to have a conversation about women, leadership, and money.
Exactly. I can't say enough about that. Yes.
So there's a conference scheduled to be done in Belize. Could you give us a bit of a backdrop as to the leadership conference? How it came about?
The conference is now in its fourth year. We started in 2015 out of a movement that emerged in Washington in 2014, where it is looking at bringing focus for empowering women in business, also as a way of inspiring girls in poverty. And so the conference in Belize was the product as the Women Entrepreneurship Day ambassador out of that movement that I am for Belize, it's across 144 countries. And Georgina is actually the Women Entrepreneurship Day ambassador for Trinidad. Mm-hmm. And so across the world, they're pushing and having ambassador at country levels, where our responsibility under that position is to bring awareness to women as a part of the economic development of its country. Because oftentimes we are seen as being more in the backdrop in terms of developing a country than one of the leaders and at the forefront. And so this movement is to bring awareness to the fact that women have a role to play in growing a country and must be taken seriously and be supported.
Nice. No, it's not a leadership conference. It's a leadership conference. Could you talk to us a little bit, Georgina, about that focus on women and what value it brings to the entire society?
It's a great question. So studies have shown that when you support women in business and invest in women in business, that does fuel the economy. Because women they're the biggest the biggest contributors. They're doing the shopping, etc. like that. So they then have the spending power to do different things. Also, when women in business, they actually employ more people, so it fuels the economy. They actually then take the money to look after their children, which helps in education. So it actually gets into different levels in the economy, which helps the economy grow.
Nice. Now, entrepreneurship, not only for women in Belize, but for everyone in Belize is a challenge. You lived in a first world developed country.
Yes.
You were in England for a while. There are different opportunities and different restrictions. So being an entrepreneur in Belize and in developing countries is extremely difficult. How do we pierce back the layers for entrepreneurship altogether and then to reach the demographics of women? How do we do that in a developing country?
I'm so glad you say that. And that is exactly why the Leadership Conference came into the fore. It's a multi-pronged approach. Developing an entrepreneurial ecosystem is a very rigorous, in-depth process. And for Belize, we are just in our embryonic stage. We have now just had Beltrade really looking at how to get that going. What we need to do in Belize is to recognize that it's not only the responsibility of the government of Belize to develop an entrepreneurial ecosystem. The private sector has a very strong role to play. Education has a strong role to play. And those of us who I would say are checked out, successful entrepreneurs, they have a role to play as well. It's all of us getting together and contributing from our own capacity to develop a vibrant economy. We have traditionally in developed world looked for government to be the solution to all our problems. So if you take it now in the context of women, one of the very strong highlighted information that surfaced out of research from World Bank is that women in the business space lack networking. I mean, males do it well, you know. I almost said you boy club guys. But males have just sort of emerged into how they get that moving for themselves. Women have not. And so one of the tenets on which the conference is built is that it becomes a networking forum. to bring together players from different spheres. I mean, one of the wonderful things that organically emerged this year is how much the education sector has tracked, followed, and want to have a presence there.
Nice.
So we have tertiary, we have high school, secondary, that's going to be there. And we have ministry that's going to be there because it's a networking hub and there are so many exploratory discussions that will happen in that forum and should then make the connection that after the conference you can move out forward and take those alliances to do more. So for women, networking, in a nutshell, networking is one of the big things that needs to be supported for them. How do you network? Because it's critical for growing a business. Yeah.
Now, in these conferences, surely you are able to speak with some credibility because you've had your own experiences.
Yes.
Can you talk to us a little bit, just foreshadowing, a bit of what the reality is on the ground, probably some of your experience in that realm in Belize?
That's a loaded question. But I want to go back from where you start, where you say I can speak with credibility.
Yes.
I believe the panelists, each of the panelists that's going to be there will speak with equal credibility. The theme for this year is Fulfill Your Dream. And there is a panel discussion of Faces of Dream Achievers. And what we do, again, the underpinning of what the session is we want to link the aspiring with the established so they get to see relatable, and I'm going to enunciate relatable role models. Because oftentimes in business in developed world, we get to hear from people whose context, whose environment, so far, there's such a far gap from where they come and where we are. So we look to bridge that by looking in our local context to see who are our sheroes and our heroes. And then we have them on stage, and then you get to hear their story through their journey of how they develop their entrepreneurial undertaking. We will also have, for instance, Protecting Your Dream. And I can almost, if I say to you, who is a very strong, relatable role model to anybody for that? Marie Sharp. And she's going to be sitting on that panel as the relatable story in that matter of protecting your dream. And when somebody's speaking to you from the heart and from their experience, it really does a lot for our attendees and our audience.
Different impact.
Totally different impact, because it's not philosophical as much as it's real. This is my experience in the context of what that is. And you get to have your Q&A session. So you get to ask, you get to ask Kevin really the whys, and that's what's moving about our conference. You can follow me on Facebook, but you may not know why I'm doing what I'm doing, but you like what I'm doing. You see me on Facebook and you're following me, but you don't get the why. So in the conference, you get the why, you get the how. You can ask, why did you make that move? Why did you pivot business-wise? So on the ground, in there, equally, persons with equal presence will be there supporting the women who attend. They're coming from all over the country. We're expecting to really have a really super year.
Well, it's not only local, you've gone international. And Danalyn was describing two groups, the aspiring and established. I'm assuming that you fall squarely in the group of the established.
Yes. Well, I've been in business 11 years, but we were all aspiring at one point. And it's remembering, as Danalyn said, keeping it relevant. So you normally see the glitz at the end, oh, we've done so well, but to be able to share the pitfalls, when people experience them, they know that's part of the journey. And one of the major things I share with people is that it's living your passion. If you really understand what your passion is, the money will eventually come. It will come, but don't chase the money, chase the dream. And if you believe in the dream, truly believe in it, and even when you fall over, you can dust off your knees and keep going, just stay the course.
You make it sound so easy.
Well, when you truly tap into what your passion is, what you call your God-given gift, if you want to call it that, work becomes play, because you're doing what you truly love. One of the questions I ask is, if you had to work 365 days for the year without getting paid, what would you do and why? And that tends to be the underbelly of who you really are as a person. But a lot of us are scared to do that. They're scared to dream, because they think the dream won't be a reality. So we live a life of existence. If you look around, most people are unhappy.
Yes.
They're just existing, doing what they think they have to do. Because when I ask my coaching clients, what do you really want? Really want, not what do you think you're going to get? Because people will say, will answer what they think they're going to get, not what you really want. And sometimes when I ask that question, people start to cry because inside they really know. They're just scared to say it in case they disappoint themselves. And so really part of this conference is really about allowing people to be able to dream, get out of their own way so they really can live the lives they're supposed to live.
Developed countries tend to be dream killers. That's why we have, in the Caribbean, we have a large migration to developed countries like the US. In other regional countries like Jamaica, they go to the UK. How do we transcend beyond the realities of what we've had historically? Because maybe some people might say, okay, Georgina, you're talking from an established position. You know, you've been there and you've had the opportunity other places. Here, opportunity is limited. That's just a reality. How do I get my dream? How do I move past that doubt? Not just motivating myself, but how do I practically move past where I am?
That's a lovely question. I think the first part is we have to believe in ourselves, and a lot of us don't. You talked about the government, private sector. Yes, they all play a part, but they can put all they want on the table in front of you. But if you don't believe you can reach your hand and touch it, it's wasted. Yeah. So the first part, we have to work on ourselves. And that's the piece. That is the gift we have inside us that we're not even using. We're looking for everyone else to support, but it has to start within. And once you ignite that, the opportunities will just start popping, but they'll start popping, and you'll see it, and you'll actually go and take the risk, and know that I can keep moving. But it has to start with ourselves, and that's whether you've got money, don't have money. A lot of times when I speak to entrepreneurs, and they say, oh, the reason I can't start is because I don't have money, and I'm saying, It doesn't have to start this big. Start with the baby version. Test it, see what the market's saying, see if you even like what you're doing. You know, do that first. And now that someone else has bought into that idea, now start growing. Don't start looking for people to support you from day one. If you don't support yourself, if you don't invest in yourself first, how can you ask someone else to invest in you?
Absolutely. Danalyn, Belize has one of the highest, we're not entrepreneur minded. We come from a colonial society that has a huge public service. I mean, most people, the average Belizean is a public servant. That's the way I view it. We are used to getting 15th and ending culture. The thought of working for yourself is horrifying at the best. And not knowing how to even do it. We're almost illiterate. How do we move past that culture or try to change that culture, which is ingrained from Belize's British Honduras?
In your DNA, in your DNA.
You know, your question is so on point and so wonderful, because what I want to share with you is it's a mindset, and we have to consciously make efforts to change the mindset. So I'm going to share with you now. As we speak, the government of Belize have set up in the Ministry of Education a unit for entrepreneurship, because they're looking to bring at the high school level the mandatory, you must mandatory take entrepreneurship in high school. Forward thinking, and that is the first part of where we start. And so this is all a part of the persons we want to bring to the table for the conversation in our networking tomorrow, so that we are aware of what's beginning to happen and how those of us, various stakeholders, tertiary level people are going to be there. How do you want to be a part of supporting? Because one of the underpinning as well is that we are pushing collaboration. Of course, as you would see here, sitting with Georgina, a part of what we do is we are strongly saying women supporting women in this space that we are moving. So bringing together different players, having a conversation. If ministry is now in the process of formulating a curriculum for entrepreneurship at high school, why do it in isolation? Why not begin to look for all the other players? And I was so happy when I was contacted and I was asked, you know, I would want to come to the forum because I want to actually feel what it is on the ground and talk and hear what entrepreneurs are saying, because we are now in that process of formulating the curriculum. How exciting is that for high schoolers? And so there are other little things that we are not going to share here that's going to be for the conference experience.
Don't tell anybody.
That's going to unfold there. But educating people and changing mindset, as Georgina says. We have been taught to expect a paycheck as opposed to creating one.
Yes.
So it's about teaching our youth. We always have to start with tomorrow's generation, teaching our youth and having that mindset beginning to be really permeated across Belize.
No, I can't come off the set without asking this question.
Yeah.
As you said, the workshop is, the seminar, the conference is women supporting women in that entrepreneurial space. Mm-hmm. But women don't exist in an entrepreneurial space in a vacuum. Mm-hmm. That there are other factors, not only the structural factors, but also the gender factor.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Men are around. How do you factor in the role in terms of the role of women, the role of men, as women take on more important roles and stronger roles and more prolific roles in entrepreneurship? What's the role of men?
Supporters, believers, creating space for women to grow, but women have to also fill that space. I think, if you've got something small like this and you start at this, it will keep pressing against the side. If you start to expand, the room will take up. And I think men, yes, can support and should be there to encourage, but women have to also stand up themselves and take the space in order to move forward. It's a partnership as we move forward.
Can I ask you this though? There's one thing I've learned being an entrepreneur myself. Mm-hmm. Money is asexual. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Your clients don't care if you're a woman or you're a man. Mm-hmm. It's the product.
Yes.
Whether it's a service or it's a good. Mm-hmm. They want to know that you are the best.
Yes.
And that what your product or service is the best. Is this even a relevant conversation in terms of entrepreneurship, where in entrepreneurship, it's almost like justice, it's blind. Show me a product and I'll tell you who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's getting to the market. It's getting to the market, it's getting the visibility. Like you talk about the clubs, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Just the
and then, so you support each other. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, yes, it's a level playing field, supposedly, because all the money is the same color. But if you've got a much bigger network behind you and saying, and the connection, well, I can refer you and I can refer you. If you're not part of that referral, you're not at the table.
Even if you have a good product.
Even if you have a good product. It's the marketing and the visibility. And that's when you're talking about women supporting women, creating that stronger foundation to give that platform to lift us up so we can be at the table having the same conversation at the same time.
I'm sold.
Good.
Give us a little bit of the details on the conference. Where is it going to be?
The conference is at the Ramada Belize City Princess Hotel. Registration will open from 7:30 simply because of the demand from all around the country and people coming in very early. Groups out of San Pedro calling to say, we will be on the 7 o'clock flight. So will you be there to host? And we said, well, we're going to open from 7:30 and we're going to close off at 4 with the empowerment stage at 4. So it's an all day and it's going to be totally a wonderful experience. One of the things we did is recognize the importance of the niche we are serving. So for instance, individual ticket is $75, including of food and everything.
Nice.
And group rate, if you have group of 5 or more, $65. So you see women on Facebook following saying, I have two. Exactly. It's an applied way of teaching them. Yes. So people get on there and call out, I have two. Do you want to connect with me? And they get there. Last year, a group of 10 never met each other before. But at the conference, they met because they were the group of 10 that signed up. And they met each other from across the country of Belize. So it's all these ways we seek to build the integration of what it is we are selling and promoting.
So how do you sign up?
Sign up, wonderful. You can go online. We are online, leadherships.com. You can register there. Or in terms of getting ticket, we had 3 outlets in Belize City. which is same Ramada, Belize City Princess Hotel, Jador Boutique, and Mappy's Beauty World. But we also bringing, you know, the future and teaching women that. So for them, it was interesting going online, registering, and then everything came electronically. Back at them, their tickets get distributed electronically, and we have a 24-hour support person who, when they're scared, they chat and they walk them through, because it's teaching them the experience of technology, how to integrate it in your business and how to move it in a live experience.
What would you consider a success after this conference?
A success after this conference is a woman walking away saying, I got some tips, I got some strategy, and I'm going to use them. About 2 or 3 days ago, we were plugging very hard one night, and on Facebook popped up, you know, a question coming from a woman who says, I'm going to be there. And then she inboxed and she said, I want you to know, I applied a couple of the strategies that were taught, and I have seen the difference in my business. So I'm coming back this year again. So for us, the success, if it's one person coming to the fore and say, you have made a difference via this conference in the impact in my business, we will call that success. Because in Belize and in developing worlds, we have to understand growth and success is incremental. We hear first world, big success. In our context, it's incremental. And so persevering to make that happen is critical.
And for Georgina, I'm sure that you have many things that in your own experience or in your research you've come across, which you said this is just invaluable. And I wish somebody else had told me this and I didn't have to discover it myself. Could you leave with us one nugget for those people who probably won't be able to be at the conference for this one?
Yeah.
That you would really like for the females out there watching who are aspiring or established to know or to share with them?
All right, so I only said one, but I'm going to wrap it into three quickly.
Sure, man, you go ahead. The only thing better than one is two. Anything for take two.
One is really get yourself ready in terms of know what your passion is, know what your purpose is, know what your relationship with money is, because if your relationship with money is bad in general, it will be bad in your business. So really understand that relationship and nurture that relationship. Then understand what it takes to run a business. What is the product? But you have to love the product. A lot of times if you're doing a product that someone else likes but not you, how can you really talk about it? Sometimes you don't want to talk about it, you're going to put it in a corner. So love your product. And thirdly, once you've got that business up and running and you've got the finances and the sales, you have to transition from employee mindset to an entrepreneurship mindset, because that's really where it takes us.
Nice. Where can we get your book?
It's actually available on Amazon, so The Amazing Race to Entrepreneurial Freedom, and it talks to those three aspects that I just spoke about.
Yeah, I might steal this copy.
You can have that copy.
Well, ladies, want to thank you for coming in. We wish you all the luck, and we hope that the Society of Belize comes out and gathers all the, because you guys seem very well prepared. So we want to thank you for coming in. We wish you all the best, and we have to take a break right now, and when we come back, we're going to be talking Marab. So stay tuned.